Hello everyone, I'm the storyteller and I'm here to help you today. I know you use this video to fall asleep, so before that, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, where are you from and what time are you watching now? Get comfortable and relax. The Children of Stillwater. Stillwater, Maine, wasn't the kind of place you'd read about in travel brochures. It was small, tucked between dark woods and a river that ran slow and silent. People who left Stillwater didn't come back. Not unless they had a reason. Claire Foster had a reason. At 65, Claire had retired from teaching, packed her things, and moved back to the place she swore she'd never see again. She'd left Stillwater 40 years ago, but the town still haunted her dreams. She had no family left and no real friends to keep her grounded. So when the news came that the old family home was hers again, she figured why not. It was late September when Claire drove into town. The trees already bleeding reds and oranges. The air smelled of damp earth and smoke. Nothing had changed. Same clapboard houses, same faded signs, same scenes that felt thicker than it should have. She parked her car in front of her childhood home, a creaking grey two-story with sagging shutters. As she unloaded her car, she noticed a group of children standing across the street, watching her. They were pale, thin, and utterly silent. When she waved, they didn't wave back. Creepy little buggers, Claire muttered, slamming the trunk shut. Claire's first week in Stillwater was uneventful. She spent her days cleaning the house, which felt more like exorcising a ghost than tidying up. But at night, the dreams started. They were always the same. She was in the woods, surrounded by towering pines that blocked out the sky. Something was watching her. She couldn't see it, but she could feel it. A presence, heavy and cold, like a hand on her shoulder. And then she'd hear the whisper, "Fear feeds." She'd wake up drenched in sweat, heart hammering like a drum. It was on a rainy Tuesday that Claire ventured into town. She needed groceries and maybe some human interaction to shake the feeling of being watched. At the general store, she ran into an old acquaintance, Maggie Sinclair. Maggie looked older, thinner, but her sharp eyes hadn't dulled. "Claire Foster, I'll be damned," she said, pulling her into a hug. They talked for a while, catching up on the surface level stuff. But when Claire mentioned the children she'd seen, Maggie's face clouded. "What children?" Maggie asked. Claire blinked. "The ones on my street. There were 4 or 5 of them just standing there." Maggie shook her head. "Claire, there haven't been kids in this town for years. Not since..." She stopped herself, lips pressing into a thin line. "Not since what?" Claire pressed. Maggie hesitated, then leaned in close. "Not since they started disappearing." The story came out in fragments. For as long as anyone could remember, children in Stillwater would develop irrational fears around their 7th birthday. The dark spiders, the river. Each child had their own terror. The fears would grow worse until one day the child would vanish without a trace. No one talked about it. The adults didn't seem to notice, as if their memories had been wiped clean. It was the kind of thing you'd write off as local legend if it weren't for the empty desks in the schoolhouse. People forget, Maggie said. I don't know why, but they do. I've watched it happen, even to me. My own sister disappeared when I was 10, and I can barely remember her face. Claire couldn't let it go. The dreams, the children, the missing. Something was tying it all together. She started digging, visiting the library, talking to anyone who would listen. Most people brushed her off, but a few, the older ones, would whisper warnings. Stay out of the woods. But Claire didn't listen. It was late when she finally stepped into the forest, flashlight in hand. The trees loomed over her, their branches clawing at the sky. The deeper she went, the colder it became, the air thick with the scent of decay. She found it in a clearing, a massive, twisted tree with roots that looked like fingers clawing into the earth. The ground around it was littered with toys. A teddy bear, a baseball glove, a plastic tiara. And then she heard it. Fear feeds. The voice wasn't human. It was low, guttural, vibrating in her chest. Who are you? Claire demanded, her voice trembling. A shape emerged from the shadows, a shifting mass of darkness with glowing yellow eyes. I am the hunger, the fear. I have fed on this town for centuries, and I will feed for centuries more. Claire's knees buckled, but she didn't run. Somehow, she knew running would only make it worse. You feed on the children, she said. On their fears, the creature corrected. Their terror is pure, untainted, and the adults forget because I make them forget. It is the bargain. Claire didn't remember how she got out of the woods. She woke up in her bed. The memory of the creature burned into her mind. She knew she couldn't stop it. Not alone, but she could remember. She started writing everything down, every detail she could recall. She sent letters to newspapers, called in reporters, begged people to listen. Most thought she was crazy, but a few didn't. And then, one day, the children stopped disappearing. No one in Stillwater could explain why, and most didn't even notice. But Claire knew. The creature was still out there, still watching. It was only a matter of time before it came back. But for now, the children of Stillwater were safe, and Claire Foster, retired teacher and accidental hero, kept her flashlight by her bed, just in case. The end.